But Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua. Okay. This fight looks like it's going to happen. We saw the preliminary fights, 2 paydays by these guys, both fighting, um, turning out to be less than stellar opposition, which I don't think that shocks anybody. So now we say to ourselves, okay, we look at Anthony Joshua's last 2 fights. I mean, Jake Paul and this guy, right? What are they? His last 2 fights, and Tyson Fury, 2 tune-up fights. Maurice Wack explains it all. And now they're heading towards a showdown, big money grab for both fighters. Most likely will take place in the UK. That's under discussion now. I think it's a big fight anywhere, and we all know the UK follows their fighters. So even if for some reason it wasn't in the UK, which makes no sense because they could sell out, the arena, 100,000 people, 60, 70,000 people easily. So I don't know. But I believe this fight was 5 years too late. I mean, some notable fights to keep in mind. I mean, I'm going to say Mike Tyson only because, I was such a big fan. But Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, that fight they were talking about that. They were heading for a showdown before Mike Tyson went to jail. And then when he went to jail, he lost those years and came out. And then he had the big fights that he should have had before. They should have made them. That one you could make the argument of Lennox Lewis earlier on. He ended up fighting these guys well out of his best condition. And we all know how what had happened. The other one, what about Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao? That's another one. At least 5 years to. By the way, I'm talking about the original one. All right. I mean, now it's at least 5 years too late. Those guys were going. People wanted to see it. People were begging to see it. Well, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. The end result. My point is the end result of waiting too long is we never get to see the best of the fighters. When Mike Tyson fought Holyfield and Lewis and those guys, phase 2 after jail, we didn't see the best version of Mike Tyson. We didn't, and with Mayweather and Pacquiao, we didn't see the best version of either one of them. And add the injury to Manny Pacquiao, and it just made it worse. So, you wait all this time, you marinate the fight, so to speak, and then it's anticlimactic. I hope that doesn't happen with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. This fight was hot years ago. Hey, listen, do you remember when even Deontay Wilder, who I think is, you know how I feel about him, he and Anthony Joshua, they were on a collision course. They were offered, remember at the time, $100 million, and the fight didn't materialize. They waited too long. Now, who the hell wants to see it? No, listen, we're going to see Usyk fight Wilder. That's what's going to happen. You're going to see Usyk fight Wilder on a Zuffa card. I'm telling you right now, that's what you're going to see. Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, 5 years too late. What are we going to get? We got glass jaw Anthony Joshua. Even Tyson Fury, who in my opinion doesn't have as a powerful punch that he should have for his size. For his size, he should land a solid punch on somebody and just put them to sleep. I mean, coach is asking, why is Wilder even fighting ahead of all the others? Because it's the last fight for Usyk. It's a cash out. Usyk gave up. Here's the thing. Usyk gave up all his titles. Everyone still recognizes Usyk as the champion, as the guy, right? Well, think about that for a minute, boys and girls. Doesn't that prove to all you title belt lovers or you people out there that think that you got to fight for a title? Doesn't that prove it's all bullshit? I mean, we know who the best fighter is. The belt is just a money grab. Pay the fighters enough money where they don't have to fight for these trinkets. Pay them enough. One title. Top 10 contenders. Whoever Usyk fights is going to be a money fight, but he's going to fight for one more title and win it, and it's going to be a Zuffa belt, and they're going to sell it, saying that Deontay Wilder possesses the equalizer, and it's true, he does. Does he stand a chance with Usyk? No, I mean. The kid, Verhoeven, Rico there. I mean, he made it interesting, just like Nagano made it interesting with Tyson Fury. I mean, listen, it all depends on how these fighters train. Now, will Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua train hard for their fight? Of course they will. Make no mistake, they're both going to come in and in the best possible condition that they can at this stage of their careers. My point is, we're just not seeing the best versions of them. Is it better for them? Are they making more money now than they would have? Remember that there's, not that, I'm going to contradict what I just said, but there's no belt on the line, which obviously you don't need a belt to sell. Usyk's going to sell. These two guys are going to sell. So, I mean, do I like the fight? Yeah, I like the fight. And the reason why I like the fight, I wish the fight was 5 years ago, but I like the fight now too, because of a couple of reasons. Number one, I like the fight because there is definitely going to be some British pride on the line. All right, the Brits, you know what? They put a lot of value in fights, in winning fights. I mean, they really do. It's a pride thing. You go back, even not in the boxing ring, they're like that. Maybe it's because they drink too much. I don't know. But the thing is that there's going to be a lot of pride on this in this fight. The other thing is, both fighters are going to come in condition. Now, we know Anthony Joshua always comes in condition, but when Tyson Fury is in good shape, he's a tough out. I mean, listen, he's going to know how to tie up Anthony Joshua. The thing about Anthony Joshua is I've never seen a fighter that has lost the ability to take a punch so much as Anthony Joshua. Now, people are going to say he always had a suspect chin, but remember, he was in there with some pretty heavy-handed fighters that he didn't get knocked out by, So I don't know. And he did go the distance with Usyk, and he did get up when he was dropped, most of the times. But but the truth of the matter is it's just seemingly has gotten worse. And I think that Tyson Fury, I mean, he's going to be able to land some shots. So the question is, what's AJ going to do? I know he's been working like an animal in the gym. We heard that from Usyk, and he looks it, and we know he's going to be mentally there. What can he do to help his chin? I'll tell you one thing he could do. He could employ some defense. When he throws his punches, if you watch, I happen to have been able to watch some video of him throwing his punches, and at Prenga, and frame by frame, and he's every time he throws a punch, he's open for the counter punch, and any angle, even an uppercut. In slow-mo, I've never noticed how open he is. Not only for just a regular punch, but the uppercut. I mean, right up the middle. This kid is open all the time, and Tyson Fury is going to be able to exploit that, and Tyson Fury is going to be able to tie him up. I think that AJ has a really good chance of winning this fight, and it's a simple game plan, in my point, in my opinion. And the way Anthony Joshua beats Tyson Fury is he outboxes him, and everyone's going to say, "Oh, wait a minute, Tyson Fury's a great boxer." I don't know if he's a great boxer. He's a great guy that knows how to utilize his size and tie up his opponent and throw enough punches to win a fight. and he has gotten aggressive and he has stopped fighters. But I've seen Steve. I'll never forget this Steve USS Cunningham dropping him with an uppercut. Okay, now he's a much different fighter than he was then, but Cunningham was coming up in weight, fighting this monster. Cunningham was a light heavyweight, then a cruiserweight. The thing about Anthony Joshua, the reason why I say outbox him is because Anthony Joshua, if he was smart, would be on his toes, would be implementing a stiff jab, and just keep circling around Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, the one thing that Tyson Fury isn't is fleet of foot. He's a plotter. He's not dancing around. He acts like he does, but just his upper body moves. And he's got those toothpick legs, but so does AJ. It's going to be an interesting fight. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll talk more when it's officially announced.